I don't think there's a reason to transition if you don't have a mental illness. Like, there's something wrong in
That's
your
like
brain.
saying you shouldn't cut your hair because you don't
No.
want long hair.
Wow, that is so not a comparison.
So when you I mean when it's the opposite concept of gender or body dysmorphia. So when you look in the mirror and you see what's wrong with, like, you have an uncomfortability with your secondary sex characteristics, and so the treatment is to change that to match with what you want it to be. But I mean, he's right. You can't change your sex. But it's in the brain. You treat the body to help the brain. It's not any different. And honestly, I'm somebody who I don't think we should stigmatize mental illness.
What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny here today, and I have a question to ask. Is gender dysphoria a mental illness? I say yes. And many people, I don't know what the position is, but you saw from the intro, a lot of liberals seem to have this almost cognitive dissonance that, in one hand, they're going to say gender dysphoria is not a mental illness. But in the other hand, we need to treat and help with the symptoms of gender dysphoria. So what is gender dysphoria? If it's not a mental illness, then what is it? A condition? Like, we consider cancer a condition, right? We consider schizophrenia a condition, bipolar a disorder. Like, we can clarify mental illness, and we knew, hey, we need to treat this with medical intervention. But trans surgery, gender affirming care is not in the same boat. You see the mental gymnastics that, people like me who like to have a clear, defined distinction for things. This is the problem that liberals fall into. They like to fall under this vague word games, word kung fu, to try to paint themselves as the good guy. So here is the reason why I decided to make a video again on Brian Kassenstein. I don't know. Look, someone could probably give it to me in the comment section. You know me, bad with names. Look, we all got our flaws here. But I digress. Let's get into the X post. You might want to understand what gender dysphoria is. It's not the same as being a transgender. And this is a comment replying to Tim Pool. Brian, would you like to apologize to me now, before now, or after holidays? Where a CNN Health article came out talking about how gender dysphoria is included in the DSM-5, which is a handbook used by healthcare professionals in diagnosing mental disorders, which I completely agree with. I believe gender dysphoria is a mental disorder. And the disagreement between conservatives and liberals is the treatment. As a conservative, I believe, hey, there's one truth, objective reality, which we live in, evidence, empirical evidence guide our thinking. Hey, you are a man. You must accept that you're a man. That is the better path forward. It may not be easy. It may not be the most convenient path of doing it. But this, we believe, will have a more sustained solution to the disorder. While on the other hand, liberals believe in quick fixes, right? Let's just patch it up. Okay, we'll just conform. We'll just make reality conform to you. We'll force a large swath of people to validate how you view yourself, regardless if it's actually true or not. We don't care. We care about your feelings. This is facts over feelings over here. At least that's what conservatives believe. The fact of the reality is, hey, you have to adapt to reality. While liberals' argument and belief and approach to solving gender dysphoria is forcing reality to adapt to the individual, aka making the individual control reality, which is not the case. Because you have to force millions of people, 400 million other people, to abide by your rules. And that's what's going to require what? Force. And like I said, I don't agree with using force to get an ends. You can't persuade people because this is not reality. But this is the game that liberals are trying to play. You might want to understand what gender dysphoria is. It's not the same as being a transgender. Not all transgender people suffer gender dysphoria. And this is what the intro was saying, is that, hey, if you're not suffering from gender dysphoria, you should not be allowed to cut off your genitals, do all this treatment because you don't have the mental disorder. So what justification do you have for getting gender affirming care if you don't have a disorder, if it's not a treatment? But in the same breath, he's going to talk about how it causes this sense of unease and dissatisfaction may be so intense it could lead to depression and anxiety and have a harmful impact on daily life. Okay, how are you going to fix it? Because your argument here in gender affirming care has shown the people still commit suicide. Large amount of these people still commit suicide. And as a conservative, I'll argue it make it even worse, because even after you do all the treatment, all the surgeries, you'll have to still do things that other biological women don't have to do. Like put a dilator up your, to keep your wound from closing, because your body sees that as a wound while you see that whatever you did as a vagina. Am I allowed to say vagina? Oh. Right? So the reality will still be apparent, self-evident that you're not a woman, because you have to do things that a normal woman don't have to do. Oh, you don't have to stick this thing in and make sure your stuff don't close. Oh, you don't deal with medical complications like I do. It'll become even more apparent. And then the worst part is they'll know they can't take the decision back. So why allow people to do a treatment, as my view as a conservative, that I believe is a dead end that will lead to the inevitable of them ending themselves? Why not focus on the hard work up front? Hey, getting these people to recognize reality and recognize and accept who they really are, their biological sex. And this all started because liberals like this guy confuse large swaths of people to think that their gender identity is not their biological sex. Gender dysphoria is a term that describes a sense of unease that a person may have because of a mismatch between their biological sex and their gender identity. Conservatives and, in my view, people who live in reality understand that gender identity is a function of defining what biological sex is. Male, adult human, a man is adult human male, right? There's 3 distinctions that qualify and that makes up that one word. That word, the word definition of man is merely a function to identify a human adult male. Language has a function, and I'm tired of these word linguistic games that the liberal left likes to play, because all they want to do is control people and then virtue signal off this. And he don't even understand what gender dysphoria is, but he seemed like, he want to present himself as the authority. And this is my problem with liberals and a lot of people on the political left. They automatically assume they have some type of credibility because what they say sounds better, sounds nice. The road to hell was paved with good intentions, and you're leading a lot of people to hell, because a lot of these people will still delete themselves. A lot of these people will still be depressed. They'll still have depression and anxiety because they'll have new things to be depressed and anxious about. And instead of treating them properly with the in my view the correct care, which is reaffirming their gender identity, aka making them accept the biological reality that they are a man, they're not the opposite gender, and no amount of cosmetic will change that fact, that reality. And better to learn how to live with reality than to live with a fantasy and then reality smacks you in the face and you realize you're still an imposter. You're still a copycat. You're still a hyphenated woman. And no matter of forcing society to believe in this person's delusion is going to change that. The vast majority of medical professionals do not consider transgenderism to be a mental disorder. They should. My criticism of your post was directed at the fact that you spent your Christmas trying to attack fellow human beings as mental illness. He never attacked anybody. He had an argument, I believe, and the argument is, hey, gender dysphoria is a mental health issue, is a mental illness. And this guy's trying to make, you see how they changed the goalpost? He said, "Oh, you're attacking people." No, we're having a debate and we're arguing, hey, what is gender dysphoria? Is it a mental disorder? Is it a mental illness? We need to clarify this thing. You said it's not. Tim brought up something that backs up his side of the argument. And now you hear running away from the criticism and trying to say, oh, he's attacking people. And you think it's low, pathetic, and divisive to spend your holidays. You see how they frame it? Smearing. Let's not talk about that. I'll call you a name. Typical liberal framing of the argument. So, Tim threw a reverse Uno card at this guy, and I think it was pretty smart on Tim's part. I concede, Brian. We must remove gender dysphoria from the DSM-5, which is which psychiatrists use to diagnose mental disorders, as soon as possible, and this will mean no more prescribing hormones or surgeries, even to trans adults. All right, let's be consistent here. And I'm sure he'll find some cognitive dissonance. I'm sure he's going to find some way to create an imaginary world where this is not the case. This is not true. This is not a productive conversation, Tim. I'm sure he'll find a way because liberals are good at that. And in my view, like if we keep going down this wishy-washy, imaginary word games, we're only going to produce more chaos in this world. This is why we're going backwards as a culture. Scientifically, right? We're contradictory because we allow people with vague understandings, with vague definitions, who can't even defend the things they advocate for. All they know how to do is criticize, Brian being the perfect example of that. Yet they want to have laws based on this delusion, based on these vague understandings. Like, it baffles me to the core. But hey, I digress. What do you guys think about gender dysphoria? Do you agree with me? Do you think it's a mental illness, or do you agree with Brian and you think it's not, and we should be treating it regardless of whether it's a mental disorder or not? Because the fact that we don't treat gender dysphoria means that this person is doomed to depression and anxiety because we didn't force reality to conform to their imagination. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. I know it was a long-winded question, but let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next video. Peace.